answer those questions is our Columbia University Student College panel. College sophomore TJ Katz and returning guests, college senior Aharon Dardik and master's journalism student Chris Mendel. Thank you all for joining us. Okay, so we're going to start with Aharon and Chris because you joined us before to discuss the issue. And, you know, we've had so much that has happened. Let's take a listen to some of our previous conversation. We'll talk about what's changed.
This is not the sort of thing where students are trying to look for something that is like crazy or beyond the pale. Right. They're asking for something. There's consensus among the students overwhelmingly of what they want.
When there's the protest going on, they feel like they're within a community of their peers, and they feel like they're keeping each other safe compared to being in the regular student body. It's a bit of factionism at times.
Okay, so several months have passed, so let's talk about what stands out to you both.
So right now, the biggest thing that stands out is there's been a lot of rule changes that happened over the summer, and students are trying to figure out how to navigate that. And the other thing that's changed is a lot of students who were involved in the protests in 2023, 2024, and this past spring have now graduated. So we're in a place where students are trying to figure out what to do, who's organizing protests, because a lot of them have left.
Yeah, Ron, what do you think?
I agree. I'd also just like to add that many students who were very instrumental in the broader student community in helping the protests happen were also suspended and expelled at unprecedented rates in ways that Columbia has really never done before. The expulsion of students for political speech hasn't happened before this year, and going back to when students were protesting collaboration with the Nazis during World War II. So this is something that's really unprecedented. It's a way of attacking free speech and creating a chilling effect that has really harmed not just those students who themselves were suspended and expelled for expressing their freedom of speech on campus, but also for all the other students who wish to do the same. That right now there's a consensus on campus of what needs to be done, of the need of our campus to divest. And yet it's very difficult for people to know whether or not they can even say that on campus because of all these repressive policies designed to appease President Trump.
All right, TJ, I want to get to you and your thoughts on what has happened in the last 2 years that we've been covering, where we are today, and what you see happening. What can you tell us from your perspective?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here today. I unequivocally support the right for students on campus to have free speech. There's no doubt that students need the right to express what they believe in and speak up for what they support in. I think that said, there is undoubtedly a very clear distinction between the difference of free speech and hate speech. Hate speech undoubtedly should not be protected on our campus. When on October 7th, just a couple weeks ago, the anniversary of the deadliest day in Jewish history since the Holocaust, when I walk to class and I hear students chanting that they don't want two-state, they want 48, that they want to go back to a time in which the Jewish people didn't have a homeland to protect themselves, to have the right to exist in such a way that they know they could be safe, that's really upsetting and that's disturbing. And I think that undoubtedly for the last 2 years on our campus at Columbia, we need to find a middle ground. We need to ensure that all students can speak up for what they believe in, but that they do so in a peaceful way and not in a disturbing and a hateful way.
Go ahead.
There's a difference between something being disturbing or making you feel uncomfortable and that thing becoming hate speech. Right now at Columbia, we've had a revised definition of anti-Semitism based on IHRA that makes so many things that are just criticism of Israel or criticism of Zionism be considered anti-Semitism at Columbia. And so even what you described, I think, is something that can make a lot of people, a lot of my friends feel uncomfortable. But it's not hate speech, and that's sort of, I think, the difference here, is if it's freedom of speech, it's freedom of speech.
All right, well, let me get Chris to weigh in here because as a journalist at Columbia, you've reported on the issue from the start, and we saw these Palestinian activists arrested, and we've seen a lot of things happen that has really filled a range. What are you seeing now? And talk to us about some of the arrests and the protests and the speech they're talking about.
So I think a big part of it is trying to figure out what's the proper thing to say to the other side, how to connect with the other side, because a lot of times what's happening is the sides are talking past each other. And I think that that's a big thing. Like we hear right now, there's a difference between hate speech and speech that is free speech. And students really need to grapple with that concept right now. And they need to figure out, how do I connect with the other side in a way that doesn't sound like hate speech?
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.